This competition, just when you're not getting reps, what is that process like for you? What are you doing? How are you trying to maximize that?
Yeah, I think a rep is a rep in general, and we try as quarterbacks, knowing that there's not many reps to go around, just as how practice goes. When you're behind the center and trying to take as much mental reps as you can, that's been our benefit. Be able to get it that way. So, and then you talked about it in the film room as well. So there's a combination of ways to make it happen, but of course the physical's a little different.
What did you do between the end of mini camp and the start of training camp here to get better or whatever?
Yeah, I just got better, got to it, in every area of my game. And I think mentally, you're able to come out of OTAs and know a lot about what we're trying to do and accomplish. But physically, you're able to, actually go to work and know how the coaches want things. So it gave us time to go execute that and feel good about it going into training camp.
So did you throw to players from college, or what did you do?
Yeah, a mix. I think as you get around town, you try to find receivers that you can. And, shout out to Oklahoma Baptist University. I had some receivers out there, but they're running wild. But was able to connect with Dre and Jamari in Los Angeles as well. So you just try to find receivers where you can, but as much as you can connect with the guys that you're going to play with, it definitely helps.
Dillon, it seems in the 2 days of training camp, there's been an uptick in the number of play action plays compared to mini camp. And Bill Musgrave said he's surprised at how good you are. Can you explore, did you work on it during the break? Or?
Yeah, everyone does, and I think just something that you're going to want to pride yourself on, and how good you can make the run look like the pass, and vice versa. So, that's something that you try to work on, and we emphasize throughout practice, but also, the time you have off to continue to rep it.
What do you feel like you have to do to win this starting job?
Yeah, I think for most, it's just focusing on where I'm at today, and I think a lot of people are focused on results, but the more you can just be right where your feet are, results will come. And for me, I'm just focused on today. I got to practice today that I look forward to, and it's been a blast to be able to learn and compete every single day.
Is that something you've had to work on throughout your time playing football, or have you kind of always had that mentality of being able to stay present in the moment instead of being
I think I just had to grow up at a young age, pretty quick, football-wise. Starting as a freshman in high school, doing the same in college. It's a different situation, but there are some trends of learning and being able to translate to a new game, or at least a new level of the game. So for me, it's been my way of life. This is who I've been, and it's just a certain way of how I attack it.
Dillon, what does your process personally look like when you're trying to lock in those mental reps, when you're trying to lock in things in the film room, and then even when you're taking those valuable physical reps? What's your process to lock all that in and get the most out of each thing?
Yeah, I think elite focus. It's difficult to talk about, or difficult to actually do, but easy to talk about. And I think that's something that you just have to continue to pride yourself on. And I've had a lot of reps of that. But every rep is precious, physically. But even mentally, when you're behind center and trying to get those reps, those are precious as well. So try to, do the combination of the two. And then when you're in meetings, be able to talk through it so you feel extremely prepared for when you do get on the grass. But it's a culmination of a lot of things, and that's why being present is huge. So you don't let a day pass by without you being extremely focused on what's ahead.
We talked about. Go ahead.
How hard is it to, as you're talking about, stay in that moment, be present, and all that on a day-to-day basis, while also at the same time knowing and understanding that you are competing for a starting job as a rookie in the National Football League?
Yeah, I've told you multiple times how I view competition as being myself yesterday, and how can I be better than I was yesterday? And I think when you have that focus, it's going to make everyone better. It's going to make your team better. It's going to make our run better, and that's all I can do. Control what I can't control. And anytime you think outside of that, you're not serving the moment.
We talked about the limited reps, but in minicamp, when you got the reps with the first team. How valuable are those? What did you take away from that experience?
Yeah, reps are reps, pros are pros. Of course, there's some guys that have played a lot more ball than others, but for the most part, I think you can just maximize it. And the speed of the game is typical. There's elite players on both sides of the ball, but the more you can get tries at it, of course, it'll help.
Dillon, how do you feel like you processed or assimilated the offense in those 5 weeks? Do you feel like you went home, you had so much heat down your plate? Did it kind of all come together and you got back here and the lights were on even more?
Yeah, I like what Coach Stefanski said. You gotta take on an elephant one bite at a time, and we definitely were delivered the elephant. So just trying to take it not day by day, but install by install, and try to dissect it there. And I think within an install, you can get runs, passes, play actions, different progressions, things that you have to think through. But the more you can conceptualize it for yourself and create ways of memorizing it, I think that just goes down to study habits and life skills, honestly.
Is there anything that has surprised you in the transition to pro life versus college life, either on the field or off the field?
Honestly, I love how dedicated everyone is to the game, and there's a precision you have to play with within the NFL, and of course, I'm speaking just from practice reps, but of course the game as well, and I think I think it's a blast being a competitor because you are demanded, it's a demand to play at your best, and that's the fun part of what we do. So I get excited every time I go on the field because I get to do that.
Dillon, going off of that, what's been the biggest off the field adjustment for you now, going from college to this was your full-time job doing this?
Not much. I would say more so just moving in general. I think people go through little moving things here and there that maybe you don't necessarily think of, and just for anyone, I think the last time you moved, if you can think through that, there's just some steps that come with it. So I guess that's probably the most difficult part, but once you get past that, then you're right back into your routine.
Dillon, we just got the chance to talk to Shador, and he's so entertaining and fun to talk to. I'm just wondering, what has your relationship been like? You guys been having a blast together? Do you hang out together a lot? The day from here when we don't see you guys. How's that going?
Yeah, it's good. I think being in two similar, times of our career of rookies and trying to learn and figure out our way, I think, there's a bunch of ways to do it, and we've just been doing it by being ourselves. So it's been a lot of fun that way, and as you know, we have a fun room, in a room that there's just a bunch of diversity in a lot of ways, and we just use that to our advantage, keep learning, keep growing.
What have you picked up from that time in that room, for listening to guys like Joe and Kenny? What is there something in particular that before you got in there you really didn't have in your toolbox that now you kind of use it to your advantage?
Yeah, I think you grow from their experience in the sense that you can use a lot of the ways their study habits or maybe things that they've been a lot more efficient in, and I say that in just day to day, and how they go about their process of whether it's studying, taking care of their body, or even just thinking about a certain play. So there's a mix of all that, and as you can tell, there's three guys, Deshaun, Joe, and Kenny, who've played a bunch of ball at different spots. So they've seen a bunch of different football, so we can all learn from that.
How much emphasis do you?
Away from home than anybody here. How much do you miss a lot?
I'm used to it, I always knew, and I actually went even further right when I was 18 to UCF, so really went, from west to east as far as you possibly can, and at least in the country. And I'm just used to it. I know that there's a flight involved, but it's all good. I get the family out as much as I can, and Hawaii's always been special to me and always will be.
How much emphasis do you put on getting the ball out of your hand in a hurry, and how do you balance that with when it takes shots down the field?
Yeah, I think playing on time, you can still take shots down the field, and I think it's a constant balance a quarterback is playing. When you can take the cheese, or maybe you got to drop it down, and sometimes people see a check down maybe as results based, and versus maybe a check down that gets an explosive, right? So there's constant conversation about it when you can continue to play off one another, but I think it's the balance of quarterback play is really in every progression.
You guys have fans out here for the first time today. What are your thoughts on playing in front of the crowd for the first time in practice?
It'll be interesting. It was my first time, so it'll be interesting. In college you kind of have, the donors or, some family friends come around, but be curious to see the environment and see what it's like.